Wolverine escaped from his adamantium cage, and now the hunt is on to try and find Logan. What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is a weekly one-shot where I'm going to be talking about the Hunt for Wolverine, how we actually got to this place, and what we're going to see going forward before everything kind of takes off into these 4 miniseries. So make sure you subscribe in order to get more of these kind of videos every single week. The first thing that I want to talk about is Marvel Legacy #1. When we were first introduced to Wolverine, we actually saw him taking on a frost giant that was sent by Loki to Midgar, to Earth, in order to steal an Infinity Stone, and he ended up wielding it in his own hands. And that's one of the best parts about Marvel Legacy #1 was that introduction to Logan and the fact that he had this Infinity Stone. And then inside Infinity Countdown Prime, we actually see him taking on a variety of different Ultron bots, and then finally confronting Loki, stabbing him in the face with his claws, just like right through his face, which is probably one of the most brutal scenes in the entire issue. And then if you want to kind of find out what happens with Wolverine's Infinity Stone, he actually drops it off inside Infinity Countdown #1 and gives it to Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, in a Madripoor dead drop. So he sticks it inside of a toilet so that way Natasha can find it, and now she's all messed up Infinity Countdown and not him. But there are a few things that happen in between that. We actually have 9 different appearances of Logan throughout the Marvel Universe as a backup story, a single-page backup story inside a number of different comic books. In Captain America 697, he's actually inside the bar where Captain America was abducted by Kraven the Hunter. Of course, he's actually a little bit too late to meet up with a real Steve Rogers. In Amazing Spider-Man 794, we see him in London outside of Big Ben, where Peter Parker has actually just wrecked the place fighting the Zodiac, who he had imprisoned for about a year. Then in Mighty Thor #704, while Jane Foster is trying to receive her treatment for cancer, Logan shows up at the hospital where she's trying to be treated, sending her a bouquet of flowers without any kind of card. But that way, we actually know that he's now in New York. And while these Where is Wolverine one-shots are supposed to be 3, we actually ended up with a total of 9, which leads us to Marvel 2-in-1 #3, which is going to bring him to Wyoming, where he actually ends up fighting Hydro Man, who has actually just escaped after his battle with the Human Torch and the Thing. Next, he's in Black Panther #170, where he's walking down the street after Manifold and Storm actually transport themselves to Wakanda, even stopping to sniff the air and saying, "What a familiar scent there is." In Avengers 680, we see him trapped in this kind of blue stasis field that is surrounding all the heroes and villains of Earth inside Peru. So that's another place that he's been. He's gone across at least 3 different continents at this point in time, and it doesn't stop there. In Incredible Hulk #714, we actually see him staring up at a giant screen watching Amadeus Cho battle this alien inside New Jersey, and it looks like he's in some sort of Chinatown or like Southeast Asian nation, so he's been all over the place. In X-Men Red #2, he even ends up in Delhi, India, where the Sentinel attack is taking place, and it's going up against Jean Grey's team of X-Men, which includes Nightcrawler and a few others, like Laura Kinney's X-23, which is a real shame because he could have had a moment to interact with Laura, but he's evidently got more important things to do. And that leads us to the final part of Where is Wolverine, and that's in Iron Man 598, where he's in MIT, where a bunch of people that have Iron Man-style power armors have been researching what's happened to Tony and how they can kind of find him, and Logan ends up inside their base while they're off doing something else, and he sees what looks to be the brainwaves of Tony Stark and a few other different people. Of course, during this entire thing, we see the same Marvel Legacy outfit. He's wearing a cowboy hat, a white wife beater tank top, and then jeans, and he's carrying on his jacket or a backpack or something along those lines. But then we see a different version of Logan. Inside Hunt for Wolverine #1, we see the Now, and that is wearing a black suit. This is a version of Wolverine, or it could be the same Wolverine. We don't necessarily know yet. That's part of the fun of Hunt for Wolverine. We see him in a black suit stabbing somebody up against the wall, which is going to kind of leave us in limbo as to which version of Wolverine this is, or if it's even the same one at all. But he seems to be imprisoned, and that's not necessarily a good spot for Wolverine. But we do get an indication at the end of Hunt for Wolverine where these things are going. In Hunt for Wolverine, Weapon Lost, written by Charles Soule, we're going to see Daredevil and a group of other people take on the mystery and try and uncover some more details regarding the whereabouts of Logan. In Mystery in Madripoor, we're going to see a group of Wolverine's exes. Essentially, everybody except for Jubilee on this team has had some sort of relationship, physical or romantic or otherwise, with Wolverine. So these are the most important women in Wolverine's life, save for maybe Jean Grey, that are going to be trying to track him down, and it happens to be in Madripoor, and we're going to be dealing with possibly the patch alternate version of Wolverine that was from like the 1980s. We're also going to be getting the Adamantium agenda written by Tom Taylor, which is going to be dealing with a lot of his Avengers counterparts. So that's Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and then of course Wolverine was a part of that team as well. And then to finish things off, we have Claws of a Killer, which is dealing with a lot of Wolverine's greatest enemies or nemesis. So in this one, you're going to actually have Sabretooth, Lady Deathstrike, and then possibly Daken, his own son. So I'm not necessarily sure what we're talking with, but it seems to be a real Weapon X kind of situation that is really taking these things and moving them forward. But that's where we go. That's where we get to Hunt for Wolverine #1 and a little bit beyond, what we're going to be looking at in the future. But I want to know what you guys are excited about when it comes to the Hunt for Wolverine. It looks like there's a lot of mystery that's going to be unraveled, and from what Marvel says, everything is key before we get to the classified book, which is likely going to be happening in August or September. So that's possibly the relaunch of a brand new Wolverine title, a brand new Wolverines group. Who knows what's going to be going on? So hit me up in the comments down below and we can start that conversation to see what's going to be happening with our favorite Claude Canadian. As always, if you like what you see, don't forget to hit the like button and make sure you subscribe to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.